Hello everyone and welcome to my YNR CBS Spoiler Today channel. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Was this really just a simple mistake or is something way more sinister bubbling under the surface in Genoa City? We have all seen Phyllis Summers pull off some wild moves over the last 30 years. But what she just did to the Newman family is on a whole different level. You have to wonder if she's finally stopped caring about the consequences altogether. Think about it for a second. She used an actual artificial intelligence program to snatch Newman Enterprises right out from under Victor Newman's nose. Can you even imagine the gut that takes? It's not just a business move. It's a total declaration of war against the most powerful man in town. But there is the thing that really gets me. While everyone is reeling from the corporate heist, Michael Stafford just dropped a massive hint on social media that suggests this is only the beginning of a much darker chapter. She posted this selfie video from the hair and makeup chair with Roger Howard. And she didn't just call him a friend, she called him the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And then she whispered to the camera to let the games begin. If that doesn't send a chill down your spine, I don't know what will. Is she telling us that Phyllis is about to team up with the resurrected and amnesiac Matt Clark to burn the whole town down? Well, let's look at the facts here because the situation is getting incredibly messy. Right now, Phyllis is basically lording over everyone from Victor's old office. She is being hung her own portrait on the wall where he used to be. The look on Victoria's face when she saw that must have been priceless. But Phyllis didn't blink. She just snarked about how beautiful it was and made sure to remind Victoria that her own time in that office was very brief. It's that classic Phyllis audacity that we love to hate, right? But you have to ask yourself why she's being this aggressive. Is it just about the power or is she trying to fill a giant hole in her soul? The funny thing is while she's acting like the queen of the world in the boardroom, she's actually falling apart behind closed doors. When she's alone, we see the real Phyllis, the mother who is absolutely terrified that she has lost her children forever. She read that note from Summer and it didn't just hurt. It literally looked like it kicked the wind out of her. She had to sit down just to keep from collapsing under the weight of her daughter's words. Do you think she actually deserves that kind of rejection, or has Summer gone too far this time? The drama with her kids is really the heart of this whole psycho meltdown that everyone is talking about. Daniel is matching his sister's vitriol and he told Phyllis straight to her face that they aren't a family anymore. Can you imagine hearing that from your own son? Phyllis' face just froze in that moment, and you could see the pain sharper than a serpent's tooth hitting her twice over. She's trying to find an ally, anyone who will stand by her, but even the people she loves most are treating her like she's radioactive, and honestly, can we blame them? This is a woman who faked her own death just to frame her rival. Diane Jenkins, she sat at her own memorial service in a disguise and watched her children sob their hearts out. How do you ever come back from that? Michelle Stafford has been playing this role for 3 decades, and she said before that she thinks people are basically a certain way deep down. She thinks people can change, but it takes a massive amount of work and swallowing your pride. Do you think Phyllis is actually capable of that? Or is she just wired for chaos? Now let's talk about this double trouble twist because this is where things get really wickedly delicious. Spoilers are saying that Phyllis is about to make a very tempting proposition to Kane Ashby at the GCSE bar. She's pushing his buttons about Lily, telling him he's better off without her after Lily went along with Victor's kidnapping ruse. She wants to mix business with pleasure again, luring Kane back to her bed while plotting to take another round of revenge on Victor. It's like she's collecting people who have been burned by the Newmans to build her own little army, but is Kane really going to fall for it? Or is he just another pawn in her game? It's wild to think about how she uses intimacy as a weapon. She's basically telling Kane that since he is free and she's in charge, they can cause all the chaos they want. But wait, it gets even more sinister. There's this plan floating around where Phyllis might actually try to seduce the amnesiac Matt Clark. Think about the history there for a second. Matt Clark is the guy who tortured Sharon and Nick for years, and now he's back with no memory of his crimes. Phyllis wants to get close to him to see if his memory loss is the real deal or if he's just playing everyone. She's faking sparks to try and catch him in a lie so she can get a recorded confession, but what if she actually starts feeling something for him in this state? We know Michelle Stafford and Roger Howard have incredible chemistry from their days as Nina and Franco on General Hospital. They played this unconventional love story in a mental institution, and Stafford said it was one of her favorite storylines ever because it was so complex and inventive. Are we about to see a Mad Love reboot in Genoa City if Phyllis and Matt Clark team up and the Newmans don't stand up a chance? But we have to look at why Phyllis hates Victor Newman so much in the first place. Because it's not just about business. This goes back to the absolute horror of the Marco Anicelli situation. Victor found a drug lord who looked exactly like Jack Abbott and put him in Phyllis' bed while the real Jack was kidnapped and hidden away. For months, Phyllis believed she was with the man she loved, but she was actually being violated by a criminal doppelganger. That is a level of trauma that most people can't even wrap their heads around. It's no wonder she has this perpetual fury toward Victor. When she stole his company, she wasn't just looking for money, she was looking for a way to make him feel as helpless as she felt back then. Do you think her revenge is justified, or has she become the very monster she's trying to destroy? The funny thing is, Sharon Newman is actually the one person who might be able to reach her right now. They have this weird unbreakable bond because they were both kidnapped and left for dead by Martin Lawrence last year. Phyllis even told Sharon that the monsters keep monstering, which shows he knows exactly what kind of world they are living in. Sharon is a trained therapist and she's trying to get Phyllis to talk about what she really wants out of this path of destruction, and Phyllis gave the most honest answer she's ever given. I want it all. She's not bending, even though she's lost her kids and she's completely isolated. It's that constant resolve that makes her so fascinating to watch. Even when she's doing the dirtiest deeds imaginable, speaking of dirty deeds, we can forget her track record. This is the woman who drugged Danny Romolotti 30 years ago to fake a pregnancy and steal him away from Christine. She bribed lab technicians to fake paternity tests. She even tried to run over Christine and Paul with a car on their wedding day. When that didn't work, she put a dead octopus in their bed. I mean, who even thinks of that? And let's not forget Sasha Green. The woman who knew too much about the paternity fraud. Sasha died in a building fire while Phyllis watched and did nothing to save her. Phyllis actually explained, "I can't believe what I just did." But she let the authorities rule it an accident. When you look at all of that, her current psycho meltdown feels less like a surprise and more like an inevitability. But the real sinister part of this new twist is how it mirrors the legend of Sheila Carter. Remember, Michelle Stafford actually played Sheila Carter for a while because Sheila had plastic surgery to look exactly like Phyllis. That means there is a literal history of Phyllis' face being used for pure unadulterated evil. The writers are clearly tapping into that vibe right now. They're taking Phyllis to these wickedly delicious new heights where she's not just a schemer. She's a force of nature that might actually be on the brink of madness. She's lashing out at everyone from Billy to Sally Spectra because she feels like she has nothing left to lose. She secretly took Billy's phone to get contacts so she could plot against him and Victor at the same time. She's even considering teaming up with Audra Charles to break up Kyle and Claire just out of spite. Why is she so obsessed with ruining Kyle's life? Victor is planting ideas in her head that Kyle is the reason Summer left town for Italy, and Phyllis is buying it hook, line, and sinker. It's like she's in this trauma loop where she keeps recreating the same messy situation over and over again. She's isolated, she has no partner, and her support system is completely gone. Sharon sees it, and she's trying to help, but Phyllis is pushing her away because she would rather be powerful and hated than vulnerable and helped. It makes you wonder if she needs more than just a boardroom win. Maybe she really does need a stay in a treatment facility like some of the spoilers are suggesting. But Phyllis Summers in a psych ward, we have seen how that ends, and it usually involves a lot of fire and few more dead bodies. And now we have the return of Danny and Christine right around the corner. Hurricane Phyllis is poised to strike them against because she can't stand the fact that they are back together. She's probably going to pull out the old tricks like showing up in a trench coat with nothing but lingerie underneath, practically throwing herself at Danny to win him back. She's grabbing for that beautiful time in life that Stafford talked about, but you can't go back to the 90s. No matter how many people you drug or how many companies you steal, it's honestly kind of tragic to watch her try. So here's the big question for all of you watching. If Phyllis actually manages to get a confession out of an amnesiac math clerk, does that make her a hero in the eyes of the town? Or is she still the villain for using seduction to get it? And what about Summer and Daniel? Is there any world where they can forgive her for the AI takeover and the fake deaths? Or is that bridge burned to a crisp? I want to know what you think about this double trouble alliance with Kane and Matt Clark. Is Phyllis building a house of cards that's going to come crashing down on her head? Or is she finally going to get all that she wants? The sinister plot twist isn't just about what Phyllis is doing. It's about what she's becoming. She's becoming the queen of an empty empire surrounded by men she's manipulated and children who can't stand to look at her. Michelle Stafford is giving this performance her absolute all. And you can see the vulnerability buried under all that snark and audacity. But at the end of the day, Victor Newman always wins, doesn't he? If he's willing to kidnap Jacobot just to get Chancellor back, there is no limit to what he will do to stop Phyllis. He's already exploiting her love for her kids to get inside her head. It's a battle of the monster, and we are just here for the fireworks. What do you think is going to be the final straw that breaks Phyllis? Will it be Matt Clark regaining his memory in the middle of a seduction scene? Or will it be the moment she realizes that no amount of power can buy back her daughter's love? The storyline is moving so fast, and it's getting so dark that it feels like we are watching a whole new show. Make sure you stay tuned because Hurricane Phyllis is just getting started. And the games Roger Howard and Michelle Stafford are playing are going to leave the whole town in ruins. Seriously though, if you were in Phyllis' shoes, would you have handed over Chancellor to save Jack? Or would you have made Victor pay for the Marco Anicelli trauma first? It's an impossible choice, and it's the kind of drama that keeps you coming back day after day. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of these deep dives into the madness of Genoa City. We are going to be tracking every single move Phyllis makes as she spirals toward this psycho meltdown, and you definitely don't want to miss what happens when the smoke finally clears. Drop a comment below and let's get the debate started. Is Phyllis Summers the ultimate survivor or the ultimate villain? See you in the next one. It really is wild how the show is using these historical callbacks to make the current stakes feel so much higher. When they bring up Marco Anicelli or Hit and Run from the 90s, it reminds us that Phyllis isn't just acting out, she is a person with decades of unhealed wounds that she is now weaponized against everyone in her path. And let's be real, the AI takeover is such a modern twist on the classic hostile takeover trope. It shows that Phyllis is staying ahead of the curve, even if her emotional state is regressing back to her most dangerous days. You have to wonder if the writers are setting us up for a redemption arc or if this is the beginning of the end for the Phyllis Summers we know. Michelle Stafford seems to think there's still good in her, but the monsters are definitely taking over the narrative right now. The chemistry between her and Roger Howard is the ultimate wildcard in all of this. If they can capture that same mad love energy they had as Nina and Franco, they could become the most powerful and most terrifying duo in daytime history.